Thank you for joining the live today. Wanted to share with you some tips on on if your agency is effective in marketing. You're out there, you are doing the weekly or monthly strategies, not just activities, because sometimes you're doing um, some good things. When I hear from you, whether I'm talking to you guys on over the phone for the first time during my Thursday calls, or if I am, you know, you're joining on the live and I'm hearing your frustrations, I know that you're out there really actively trying to grow your home care business. But do you know that having a good idea or having a activity that you're doing, minus the strategy, minus really knowing how to do a good sales presentation, minus knowing how to do a good marketing presentation, minus not having the right tools to convert that lunch and learn or whatever you're doing into a real client lead, and then eventually client that signs up with your agency, then you will feel like you're stuck. You will feel like you're spinning your wheels and you will constantly say, this isn't working. So last night in the home care Kickstarter, and also talked about this in the Next Step program. We talked about the different types of inquiries your home care, home health care agency will receive after effective marketing. So I've broken it down to 5 different types of inquiries that you will receive if you are effective in your marketing. But before we go on, first, my name is Sean, aka the Savvy Business Chick, and I'm here on Tuesday to share some Tuesday tips to make you more effective with starting or growing your home care business. Hey, I'm not a gatekeeper, so you can expect that when you are listening to any of my live broadcasts or any of my replays, that you're going to get valuable information that you can implement. And being an action taker will definitely help you with your business having the success that you desire, right? So let's start with question number one. Who watching is an existing home care business owner? Who watching is an existing home care business owner? If you're an existing home care business owner, give me the number one. You're an existing business owner, give me the number one. Give me the number one. I take a sip of water. You're an existing business owner, and let me know where you're watching me from. I do not. If you're an aspiring home care business owner, meaning you're not quite licensed, give me the number two. Okay, so we're gonna move through this quickly because this is our lunchtime for some of you, and I want to give you these tips or give you this information, and hopefully you can see or look at your existing system for onboarding and ask yourself, do I have a way to determine what kind of inquiries I'm getting? Because depending on what kind of inquiries you're getting, you need to have a proper response for them. So, again, there are 5 types of inquiries that you will get. And I'm going to just name them off really quickly, and I'm going to go into a couple. Number one, you will get an inquiry from someone who wants an immediate startup. They're ready, they're asking you, they want to start right away. They have an immediate need that is ready to be addressed within a couple of days, but definitely less than a week, right? That's your immediate startup. Number two, you have someone who will contact your home care agency. Remember, this is all after effective marketing. If you are if you've started a home care agency and you're still waiting for word of mouth, you're waiting for someone to call you because a family member, a friend, someone is talking about your agency. You're not going to get mentioned. You're not going to get these kind of inquiries from word of mouth. You're going to get these kind of inquiries from actual marketing. Okay, from actual marketing. So you get okay, you got immediate startup shopping around. Then number three, you'll get an inquiry from someone who has an agency, but they're unhappy with their existing agency or provider. Okay, so that's number three. Number four, you can get an inquiry from a family member who is burnt out, a family member who has been doing this for some period of time, and even they are starting to now have some kind of health issues, unfortunately. And then lastly, you will get a inquiry for someone who has a future need. Hi, Janice, who has a future need. Okay, so from my experience, and I have been in the home health care industry for 20 years. This is my 20th year. Come July, this is my 20th year. And when I entered into this space, there were no gurus. There was not, and I don't want to tell my age, there was not YouTube University. So we didn't have people who could, tell us the right way or the wrong way to do that. To start, we thankfully I was introduced to a lady who had a very successful multi-million-dollar home healthcare agency, and she was very successful in the space, and she taught me some things to help me start, grow, and scale my first home care agency. And I'm very thankful for her, and some other stuff I figured out on my own. So after doing great marketing, remember that comes first. Then I started to notice and document, to record what kind of inquiries I'm getting from these different types of clients, right? So whenever I would get an inquiry from an unhappy someone that was unhappy with their existing agency, usually that came from someone learning about that my agency didn't just send warm bodies. Okay, we had a very, very efficient scheduling process, that we would make sure that we wouldn't leave our clients stranded. And so that came from marketing our operations. How about that? Then for those shopping around, usually when you get a kind of inquiry for someone who's shopping around, they are stuck on price and hours. And you really need to have a good response when you get an inquiry from someone who is going to be shopping around. Family caregiver burnout. If you get an inquiry from someone who has a family member that has been taking care of their loved one, and now they're burnt out, and other family members are coming in and they're saying, hey, we're going to just put our resources together and we're going to get our mom, our dad the care that is needed, and we're gonna give you a break so that you don't have health issues. And then now we're going to pay someone to do that. Usually, what I find out is that if you get an inquiry because of a family caregiver burnout, there are two people in that scenario trying to make a decision, right? The person that's been providing the service and the person that's now going to be paying for the service. And so, again, you need to have a good strategy for how you turn over these client leads into actual customers. Now, you may be asking me, well, what do you mean by client lead? So we have what's called a cold lead, a warm lead, and then a hot lead. A cold lead is someone that does not know anything about your agency, right? I won't go so far to say they don't know anything about home care or home health care, but they definitely don't know anything about your agency. You can get a cold lead by attending like a senior expo, right? Somebody that's walking past your table, they don't know anything about your agency. And so it's a cold lead. They come up to your table, and when you start talking, it's, just imagine it being cold. And if you're in the DMV, just imagine it's cold. It's a cold introduction. It and if you do not have the proper sales and marketing presentation, that it takes a lot for it to warm up. So just imagine if you live in a colder state and you've been experiencing some of the cold that we've been experiencing on the East Coast, what do you have to do? What do you have to do for your if you left your car outside of the garage? Go warm it up. So cold leads require getting warmed up. And in some instances, if your marketing is not doing that, then it becomes very challenging for you to get them into being interested about in your agency. This is why I do not recommend doing cold calls. I was recently talking to someone who said she was doing cold calls. Now, in the comments, let me know if any of you have ever heard of home care agencies doing cold calls, or if you have done cold calls yourself. Let me know. Trying to close out some of these programs. Huh. Okay. Something weird was about to make my computer freeze up. No. Wait a minute, I'm trying to read the comment. You never heard of cold calls? Okay. Okay. All right. So if you don't understand the concept of a cold call, where's my screen? I really don't know why some people would do it, but a cold call is essentially you have a list of phone numbers. So let's say, for example, you have a list of doctors, geriatric doctors, offices in your service area, and you are going down the list and hey, this is Sean with XYZ Home Care Agency. I'm calling to see if you have any patients, any clients who would be interested, who would need any home care services. We would love to partner with you if any of your patients have a need, right? So the person on the other side has never met you, never seen you, and you're pitching something that they can't see. They can't see your brochure, they can't see you, and it's cold, right? And so then what you're doing is you're asking them for information. Can I get the contact number of someone who, kind of like a decision maker? You're not really saying it like that. And then you get off the phone, and then after you get off the phone from the cold call, you go the next step, which again is not as good, and you send a cold email. Why you call it a cold email, Sean? Because you did a cold call, even though it was a sweet, friendly introduction. You're sending a cold email, and the cold email, you don't know if it's going to that person's inbox or spam, right? And the cold email essentially does the same thing, and then that's it. So from that, now that I've explained what some people are doing with a cold call, does that sound like that's something that you think would be effective? True or false? You can say yes, why, or N for no. Let me know. Let me know now that I've explained it. Are you guys there? Okay. Okay. So you're saying yes, it's an introduction to a possible warm call. So you're saying you believe that the cold call could be effective. That is your stance. Okay. And you are allowed to have that opinion. And so I'm going to give you another example. You get a phone call, and someone is trying to sell you windows or doors, or, hey, we're in the area and we're doing landscaping, we're giving out free. Are you rushing them off the phone, or are you listening to them? Because they just called you and you're trying to figure out, well, how did you get my phone number? Right? Part of the conversation, you're kind of like tuning in and out, in and out, in and out. No, because of so much scammers, they don't know if you're a scammer as well. Right? So for those of you who think it could possibly work, go try it out. I am not a big fan of it. And granted, my first job outside of college is I work with stockbrokers. I have physically seen effective cold calling. What do I mean by effective cold calling? People calling based on a list, getting someone on the phone, selling over the phone, and doing a $10,000 deal, a $20,000 deal, a $50,000 deal. I've seen it, so I know it can happen. But my question to you is, can it happen in home care? Can it happen in home care? Yes. Now, anyone that has had any kind of success in this business will tell you, or should tell you, that this industry is a relationship building industry, meaning I'm doing business with you because I know you. And I don't mean like I know you like you my girlfriend, you're my guy friend, we hang out, we go to happy hour. No, but I know you, and know, like, trust, right? Yep, yep, yep. Know, like, trust, right? So if you ever heard of know, like, trust, like, let's put that in the comments. Know, like, trust, right? So this is what we are getting at, right? This is why even on social media, they tell us don't just put, posters or graphics on. They're saying every platform, you got to have some kind of visual. People want to see that you're real, right? I don't even know why I've gone down this rabbit hole with the cold calls, right? Because we're talking about client inquiries, right? So when you get different types of client inquiries in 2026, you need to, if you are an existing home care agency in 2026, you need to have a couple of things to be successful. Number one, you need to have a system in place. Because somebody put system, you need to have a system in place. You need to have a system in place for your onboarding. And if you use these 5 different types of inquiries, you can kind of guide your um, system based upon, oh, if somebody's calling me and they're shopping around, I know that they're going to be asking me a lot of questions on pricing. And so when it comes to pricing, I need to have something in place, maybe a tool by my phone if I'm physically in the office, or a tool I can pull up on my phone, maybe in the notes section. If you're driving around and you're answering a company cell phone, and where you go to and you have your your responses. I don't want to say script. I'm going to say responses to these questions. Okay. You need to have automatic responses. You don't need to be taken off guard, right? Because if someone, if you avoid giving someone the price and they're really, really pressing on price, then they can have a problem with that. So you got to find like a happy medium if somebody is shopping around, to give them a good range of your pricing, but then still not give them too much information so that you can come and be able to do the initial assessment. Because remember, our goal is to get our foot in the door. Your goal is to do that home visit, right? That home visit is, if we're playing Monopoly, that is our boardwalk, right? We want to get in the client's home. And I want to remind you that a lot of these programs that are being implemented for aging in place, I want you to look at it like this. Everybody is trying to get in the home now. Mobile labs trying to come to the home, right? Home care and home health care, we've already been in the home. This should be a familiar territory to us because we've been in the home. Unfortunately, we haven't used it as effectively as we can, right? Or should be. Now you have monitoring devices. People who have high blood pressure, they have devices now that you can, if someone goes to take their blood pressure, it it now sends the results to a triage nurse or a doctor. And then if it's too high, they may get a call, right? These are all things happening in the home. You have telehealth, right? Things are happening in the home. I've shared with you that hospital at home programs are happening. So everything is happening in the home. Aging in place is a real thing, right? It's not going anywhere. It's actually going to increase more, right? So you have to be more efficient with how you're onboarding your clients, how you're getting new clients, so that you can now start to move as fast as the industry is starting to move. I was sharing last night that we in the home care, home health care, or even healthcare industry have had the liberty in the past to move at a snail's pace, right? We move slow. We are such a big ship that it's, when we turn, it's like a wide turn and we move really slow. But now with things like AI, we now have to move a lot faster. And I'll bring it up AI because I was reading an article, and um, it was saying how agencies who use AI systems in their onboarding and in their intake process are able to onboard clients at a much faster rate, right? They're able to onboard clients at a much faster rate. And we might think, well, that's taking away the human aspect of talking to someone, getting their information. But essentially, these AI programs are allowing them to fill out the form, and then my suggestion is that these forms are customized and have some kind of empathy in them. And then they're going to a human who's going to contact them, um, you know, shortly after the call. In times past, we only had receptionists or administrative people doing that. Now we can get more inquiries a day, and we're able to move faster and be able to sift through, is this the type of client that we can accept? Yes, no, okay, all right. Is this going to take longer? Okay, they have a future need, so they're looking to maybe get service after they get have surgery. Then you can start planning for your roster growing in your home care business. Is this making any sense, or am I losing you guys? Is this making any sense, or am I losing you? So your home care, let me pull up this other thing. So here's the tip. Let me pull this up. Okay. So number one, you need to have a system in place. If you do not have a system in place for onboarding new clients, then you're at a disadvantage. Some people don't even have a intake sheet that they use. It's important that you have a system and some kind of form, whether that form is a computerized form that you fill in, or goes along with your home care software, a paper form. Yep, even if you have to use a paper form initially, or this is an AI generated form, you need to have a form to collect the information, right? So don't just do it, even if you're a one woman show or a one man show. I always say you're starting now, and whether it's your first month of business or first year of business, or this is your 10th year of business, you start with that system, because as your agency grows, you're going to follow that same system, just with now more people, just with like more things in place. So the system is, this is how we do our intakes. This is how soon we will be able to get out to a new client after after finding out that, hey, we can provide service to them because they're in our service area, or they can, um, they they are uh, within a program that we accept reimbursement from. Okay, so that's the first thing. And let me go. So you want to add an AI tool to your website. If you have a website where you do some kind of form field, where you would have someone complete a form to speak to someone, you can have, ever seen on the website where people like they have this pop-up screen and it says, hey, how can I help you? You can now add stuff like that to your website to handle new inquiries. Of course, you're not going to be able to answer every question from every question that may come in, but you can definitely filter in some of, like, let's say if an inquiry came in at 11 o'clock at night, right? Do you want to be able to filter through that they had to answer a question? What if that person only wanted to know pricing? Do you want to get on the phone with them and be talking to them at 11 o'clock at night? Or do you want them to go through the system or some kind of intake inquiry where they're you can plug in some answers and then get back to them during normal business hours. When you have a system, it will also help you to not miss a lead or inquiry. Some of you are still working, right? Whether that's working your corporate job or you're working the bedside. So if you're still working and you have calls coming to your office phone, which is also your company cell phone, how do you how do you how do you avoid missing a new lead, right? Another thing that a lot of other industries are doing is they're using AI to reduce manual work, right? Some of the administrative tasks can be initially handled by AI. Now, I'm not here to promote AI. I'm here to promote a system. And I do have a lot of mentees that have really, really good, effective marketing after they do like one of our training programs, but their marketing gets what we call bottleneck. So this is the top of the bottle. And because of how we do our marketing strategies every month and like our Home Care Millionaire Society and Diamond Club, that they'll have so many people coming in, but because of a system error, meaning you don't have a system, you don't have a process, that it's hard for them to get in. So where you would have gotten 15 people come to your website based on a Google ad you did or an Instagram ad you did, only 2 people made it through because you didn't have enough information, or you didn't have a good process. You didn't respond to them fast enough. You didn't have uh, some kind of way to filter out their inquiries, and your response time was slow. Just a couple of things that when you're first starting out, I know you're like, well, Sean, it's just me. And this is why I'm now recommending to some of my mentees that they should get an inexpensive uh, AI response system, just so you don't miss leads. Not that we're going to be taking away. We still need to add human touch because this is in addition to this being a relationship building industry, people want to know that real people are taking care of them or their loved one and that real people are on the other side. I see a question. So for a new agency, would you recommend leaning mostly on AI assistance and just one other person for additional support? That was the question. No, I don't recommend leaning mostly on AI assistance. What I'm saying is that, like I said, number one, you need a system. So I can show you an example of uh, our system, right? Without explaining it, right? Because I don't have enough time today to explain it. So last night we were going over this, and this is only one part of our, where is it? Okay. Share screen. Okay, this is only one part of a system we teach in the home care Kickstarter program and the next step program. Where is that Word document? Window. Okay, here it is. Okay, you see this? Okay. This is called a workflow. If you're following, type the word workflow in the comments. This is called a workflow. A workflow means that either a person, a paper, or it's either being followed by a person, paper, or let's say for this example, like an AI, like a process. Okay. So a new inquiry comes in. And remember, I told you about 5 types of inquiries that I've tracked when they come in, how to handle them. Okay. So then you get on initial phone call, right? For some, you'll need to do some kind of financial verification. And then lastly, next you do a home visit. And then during the home visit, you have the intake assessment. Okay. So this is part of our system. Okay. So I have a training on this. If you don't already have, like, you don't have to join the home care Kickstarter or sorry, I'm pulling something up. Sorry if my screen keeps blinking out. You don't have to join the home care Kickstarter program or next step to get this training. This is the training we have. Essentially, the system that we teach, and this is one of your most important systems that you're going to do. Why? Because this system is the most attached to your marketing than anything else, right? Once you do marketing, if someone can't go through this client onboarding system, they don't get into your agency. I'm going to give you a word I'm sure you've heard before. They don't convert. They don't convert into your agency. So you go out, you do all of this work, you did a lunch and learn. I saw Nixie said, I smile, a small gift goes a long way. You've been giving out these little small gifts. You managed to get a good flow. Okay, you go to the Dollar Tree, you go to the clearance section at Target, and you have these little gifts and giveaways, and you finally get somebody that says, you know what, you keep showing up. I like you. You know what? We do have some clients that can use your services, and then you start getting referral after referral after referral, and you start getting these client referrals, and it happens like that, right? It doesn't, remember, I want you to know, it doesn't happen overnight. It happens over time. And that is a testament to most of my mentees. They can say, Sean, when I hit after doing it consistently for 3 months, boom, it was like the floodgates um, open. And some of you give up too soon, right? So this system is the most what you call it, attached to your marketing, because right after marketing, this is right after marketing, and the person goes to your website or has some kind of encounter with your agency. This is their first real experience with your agency. Does that make any sense? Let me show you. I think that's okay. All right. Here it is. This is it. Let me show you what. Share my screen. Okay. So in this training, it's called the Client Intake Assessment and Welcome Kit. Okay, this is a complete system. You'll need to start each and every client the right way every time. Okay. Your first client visit sets the tone of your entire agency. This kit gives you every intake, assessment, onboarding, and compliance document. So first, we're giving you forms. Then we're giving you the training on how to do your onboarding. So sometimes we share this with people who are brand new, and sometimes we share this with people who are upgrading their operations. Okay. So those are some of the forms you get. And now I'm going to show you some of the um, I'm going to open it up, videos you get. Bum, 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 bum. Mm. Sorry, it wasn't letting me open this up. This is like separate pages. Do, 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 do. Okay. Okay. So here, all right, so this is just a back office, right? So what you get when you get this one, of course, you get the forms, you get how to do your client intake and admissions folders on a budget. You get your everything that needs to be in your client chart, right? Your client chart can be physical or it can be a even if it's digital, you want to make sure that everything that's in your client chart so you can be in compliance with the state. And I'm going to give you an example. What if you want to use images from your client for on social media? You need to have a photo consent. Okay. Then you have your client welcome and onboarding handbook. So you need a handbook, just like you have an employee handbook. Guess what? You need a onboarding handbook. And then lastly, the 3 training videos. So the 3 training videos go over things like, let me stop. How to do your client intake, how to do that phone call, how to get the client to get to accept your you to do the free in-home assessment. That's video 1. So everything that has to do with that first system I showed you, that phone call, the inquiry comes in, the phone call, what you need to do with verifying their financial status. Let's say, for example, if they were like a Medicaid client. And then lastly, how you're going to do your initial assessment. How you're going to do that initial assessment. If you are a non-medical home care agency, some of you, it requires a registered nurse to do your initial assessment. But I've had people tell me, Sean, I want to know and understand what that registered nurse is doing so I can make sure he or she is doing it right. Guess what? You should know what they're doing, because now we're in 2026. Guess what's going to start getting looked at more finely? And that is new admissions. I said that a couple of months ago towards the end of the year when when we were going through like the federal government shutdown. What I said is that agencies who have done a very thorough job with the new client admissions either can justify that the client needs the hours that they have, number 1, because sometimes you want them to just keep the hours that they have. You guys keep hearing about people losing their hours or their fear of losing hours. It's going to justify that they can keep the hours that they have. And or if they're new to home care or home health care, it can show that they need hours, that there is a need for the hours, there is a need for your services. And then the last thing, which only a handful of some of my, I'll say maybe 2 handfuls of some of my mentees were able to do successfully, show that additional hours are needed, additional services are needed, additional programs are needed. So did you guys get that? You really, really need to have a good, efficient client onboarding process so it can justify the hours that someone already has, especially if they're in Medicaid, right? we're in the age that we have to prove that they need these hours, and they need the services that the state is paying for. It is going to align with the services that they're getting. And then 3, it can even help to get them more services, more programs. Okay. So doing your onboard, doing the client onboarding, even for non-skilled, is really, really important. So going through that, and how you can even go over your pricing. We cover how to deal with rejections in that training, the home care, intake assessment and welcome kit. We go over how to deal with rejections. So when you are going over your paperwork and you're sitting across from the client representative, that's a decision maker, or you are on a Zoom with them and they come up with a rejection. Let me give you some examples. They have a question about the price. What is your response? Or my favorite, well, what is your home care worker going to be doing for all these hours, right? You guys usually respond with, oh, well, they're going to be cleaning, they're going to be keeping them company, they're going to be doing this, you're going to be doing that. And you want to justify that they're going to be busy, but that is not the proper way to answer that, honestly. So we're going to covers how to deal with rejections. We're going to give you we've given you a couple of scripts on how to deal with rejections, right? Then the ending system is how to set everything up. So the entire flow from the call to the home visit to verifying eligibility if they're a Medicaid or insurance client, to getting them set up with staffing, to making sure that you have qualified workers to work for them, to getting your first payment or deposit if they're a private pay client, to the very date of start of care. That's the entire system. And the next step program, it usually takes us 4 weeks to go over this system. 4 weeks. Why? It's so detailed. It's so detailed. I was sharing last night, what if you get someone that's being discharged? You technically have to do 2 assessments. Did you know that? For skilled services, usually a doctor would justify additional hours. How would non-skilled agency need hours? Okay, it's a good question. For skilled, okay, so you remember my first home health agency, home health, is skilled. Even with skilled, I have to justify hours, right? Because the doctor is not there doing the assessment at the home. My registered nurse is there. So it still falls on this initial assessment that's done. The only thing that we're doing a little bit different, and I want to get too deep into it, with the skilled, with the skilled, and we cover skilled and unskilled. I always say in one of the training videos, for a skilled assessment, the RN, I'm just going to use RN in this example, it's going over the systems in the body from head to toe. And a non-skilled assessment, they're still going over a head to toe assessment, but they're not covering every system. So then in a skilled, you have to document every medication that's going to be administered, right? You may not have to do that in a non-skilled, right? Unless you're doing some kind of medication management. Then with the skilled, you have to really be clear on their diagnosis so that you can match what kind of service provider, aka the nurse that's going to be working with them, it's going to be it's qualified to provide the care in the home setting. Why? Because in the home setting, there is no charge nurse, there is no supervisor. It's just that nurse in there, and he or she is the expert. He or she has to have enough experience, critical thinking to be able to do the job independently. So, to answer your question, does the doctor justify additional hours? If the registered nurse says, hey, I believe that this client could use some additional hours, the registered nurse sends it over to the doctor, but it's not guaranteed that it would be approved, because if it's like, let's say, for example, a Medicaid client, then you have to go through other eligibility requirements to for it to stick. I guess that's the best way for me to explain it. But either way, you want to do a very thorough initial assessment. That document, we don't charge for a in-home assessment, but when you're dealing with insurance and even Medicaid, you can get paid for an initial assessment. And usually those forms are longer because they want a thorough initial assessment. Okay. So hopefully we kind of got a little bit off of my tip for today, but I think we still, I think I still made my point that you need to have a system in place. You need to have a system in place. And for those of you who are watching, can you share if you have a system? Do you have a system? If you have a system in place for onboarding, give me the number 1. If you don't have a system in place, give me a number 2, because I want to do a special for our home care intake assessment and welcome kit. I want to do like I'll put this on sale today. I wasn't planning on it. Okay. Let me see. Let me do. Okay. Okay. So this one is welcome. This one is normally $197. I want to take $100 off, which is really, really good considering that I'm going to do it for, let's say, until today's the 10th. Let's say until the 15th. Sorry, I'm putting this up here right now. So, so that would make it, yeah, you should wait. Because if you're going to be in that, you get this for free. And instead of watching the video, we have a live, um, we do this live. Uh-oh. Okay. So if you're planning on joining, good question. If you're planning on joining the spring home care Kickstarter, don't get this. Typically, yesterday we were sharing, and our live sessions are so powerful because it's not like, right now where you guys can only respond by sending out a message. It's interactive and people are asking, Sean, so how can I do this? And essentially this is my system. So when I have like a post that says steal my strategy, this is essentially my system. And I'm going to close with this. You guys know marketing is my thing. God just gave me really that to me as a gift. And in addition to me growing my home care agency to 2.3 million in revenue within 2 years, actually 22 months, um, I became even better at it. And there was this one, I think in my 4th year, you guys know I'm always telling you like realistic things. Like my 4th year, I was just going really, really, really hard. And I learned some new skills and I had changed up some things with my marketing. And as a result, 1 month, we had gotten like, I think like 10 inquiries, right? So these inquiries I'm talking about. Inquiries are warm leads, meaning people are interested. They're um, warm to hot leads. They're interested. All I need to do is convert them over. And the only thing that stopped me from getting all 10 when I was only able to get 4, very honest with you, is that I didn't have a good system in place. Yep, me. Remember I said the best thing you can learn from a mentor is learn from their mistakes. And it really made me develop this system that I'm sharing with you. After I developed it, I taught it to my staff, new staff, and I taught it to my existing staff because I'm a big component of repetition. I need you to know it. I need you to know it because they were very much a part of this system too, right? Because they may get that phone call, right? And if they get that phone call and they don't know how to respond to certain inquiries before it gets to my nurse or before it gets to the intake specialist, then again, remember I'm telling you about that bottleneck experience, okay? So when we did that, we had that happen. I was only able to onboard 4 of those 10. So Sean, you tell me you lost out on 6 potential clients. Yes, and it had nothing to do with money. It had everything to do with we moved too slow. They were ready to start faster than we were able to move. And when you talk about leaving money on the table or, that being an expensive lesson, it was. But then I did not, thankfully, I did not have to learn that lesson again. And that's why I'm sharing with you. You need a system. Whether you feel like, well, Sean, I don't really have that many client referrals coming in or client calls coming in. The day you do, you don't, or the month you do, or the week you do, you want to be ready. Because if you are ready, you don't have to get ready. It's not working. If you don't have to get ready. Let me see. Let me see. Thank you. Come on. Okay. I just changed it. Let me check it one more time. Sorry. That's so weird because on my side it's saying that it's now 97. Let me check. Let me paste it one more time for you. Is it not coming up or it's not coming up with the discount? 'Cause this is what I have. And mhm, this is what you should see now. It should say 97 here. Um, I want this. Um, I don't know why it does this. To remove this, guys, I don't know why it added this stuff here. Please don't add anything. Uh-oh. Make it work. Sometimes using the Gumroad, it didn't need to add on any additional products. I want this. Okay, yeah, there it is. When I press I want this, it should just um, okay. It's still not working. It's not coming up. That is so weird. So you're not um, Okay, let me give you a different one. We know when we know when things are trying to distract us. We know how to handle that because I honestly had no intention of selling anything when I got on here. Let's see. Let me try to do it differently. Mhm. And now it says my browser has blocked your screen. Click the icon, eardress. Okay. Okay. Yep. And I will also put something in my link tree. Again, but let me say it like this. If you are an existing home care business owner, you should get this. If you are not an existing home care business owner, I'm going to tell you to wait. Don't get it right now. Don't get it right now because you don't need it if you don't have a business set up. Does that make any sense? Come on now. Of course, my computer should not be moving this slow. Okay. Yep. Let me do this. I'm going to post something else in here. And this is for a different site. Anyone that um, anyone that gets it today, and I'm just you could use that new link. Anyone that gets it today, and I mean today, not tomorrow. So don't go looking at this video later and saying, "Oh, Sean, can I still get this?" Next week on Thursday, we have the Home Care Diamond Club. We have our monthly session. Anyone who I see on today, all the way up to 11:59 p.m., you can join our monthly Zoom session for free. Only today. Why? Because I wasn't even trying to sell anything, but because Devil trying to work on this, not letting you guys get this, I'm going to give you guys something extra. So I posted a new link. This one says Mastering Home Care Admissions and Assessment, but that's just because that's just on that platform. The name is different, but don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. You'll still get the same information. But that link will go down a little bit sooner than the other ones. Okay. All right, guys. Well, Tuesdays is my short day. I'm going to be going to go pick up I posted it. The kitties. And go from there. All right. Yep. I already posted it. That one's going to Sam Cart. You would, to join the Zoom, again, when I see the emails that come in after the purchase, you'll get an email. And it's not this Thursday, it's next Thursday. In the Home Care Millionaire Society, we do monthly Zooms on the Diamond Club level only. And for that, that lesson that we're going over, we've been on marketing, and I think I'm going to help with people who need help with their sales presentations. So that's what that's going to cover this coming week, because they've already gotten an entire marketing presentation for the month of February. Entire marketing presentation for the month of February, week by week, things that you can do in things you can do in on online, and as well as in person. February is a really, really good month. We even gave out a flyer for people to use. Okay, hey Courtney. Well, if you get it, then if you get this, then you can join that. No, it's not available. Because that wasn't a Diamond Club lesson. So your session is going to be this coming, not this Thursday, but next Thursday. I posted it. And it's going to be, it's a really, really good one. And then that's going to be on the 19th. And then by the 27th, you get the March home care marketing strategy. These are some really, really, really good. Yep. These are some really, really good months for home care. The winter is really, really good months. It may not feel like it because it's at the beginning of the year, and you may be like, oh, I'm moving so slow. Things are so slow. These are really, really good times. So that when I was telling you guys, when I got that those 10 client inquiries in 1 month, that first year, that happened in April because of my winter marketing. Because of my winter marketing, I was doing so much in the winter. My April after every year after that, I had my most, like, if you know what SOC stands for, start of care. When I went back and I looked, most of my starter is something about April. But guess what? If you want tulips, what in April, when do you plant them? You're welcome. When do you plant them? So whether you are in the Home Care Millionaire Society, Diamond Club, Kickstarter, Next Step, if you're just somebody that's been watching me, I want you to be encouraged that this is not the time to give up. Stay encouraged, stay motivated, and know that there are people who want to get into the industry that you're already in. So just stay encouraged. It'll be in the evening. It'll be in the evening. Okay, guys. Bye.